Yeah, you are.
Do you want me to go somewhere else?
You can do it, you know, it's up to you.
I guess dead center
You
in
know,
front of the
they
camera.
have to edit it because they post it
Yeah.
to,
You can
so
keep
it can be
looking at
there
these.
for
I'm
a
gonna
portfolio
some
item
chairs
for, yeah. So,
Oh boy, Randy, don't cook me during my
No, I
program.
promise I won't. I was like,
feedback is gonna be
they
good
came
feedback.
down saying that they're like, mascot is
Social.
doing one of his programs, and I was like, oh.
All right, well, you know what, folks, it's about time to start. So why don't you guys have a seat, let him do a spiel, and then we'll get time
So-
for five.
Social credit score.
Yeah. So we'll get you right to fun here. So, and I know, and we're kind of looking to see if I need to like ponder something. I'm not sure if this is a kid going here.
Yeah,
Let's go, we're gonna tie flies. Let's go. But we do start on time, so we will go ahead and get started. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a really awesome program I'm super excited about, and that is fly tying here at Schmeather Reserve. We're gonna do a little interpretation about it, and then you guys are going to get to tie your own flies. And so, a few things before we start. I do have a video going there because Eli is a student here in Practicum and is a senior, and this is part of Eli's senior presentation. So, if you need us when we post this to YouTube to do some blurring, just let me know. You're like, okay, good. That makes it easier for Eli, so he's very appreciative. But we are more than willing to do that. Also, of course, this is a program, so you know, check in with your person. But this is your fun here today. All right. So this is a challenge by choice program. Bathrooms, of course, are down the hall, and we have some snacks. So if you want to have some snacks while you're listening to the kickoff about fly, that is a no. Okay, that is a no. I've read the thing. My name is Chris McCart, and I'm a professor. I've seen you folks here before, and so I'm happy to report that I'm not the one doing the program. I'm going to let our program person introduce.
Hi everyone, my name is Eli. I'm a senior practicum student here at Point. I've been fly fishing since I was about that tall, and I've been fly tying since I was about that tall, and I'm happy that y'all came to my program today. This is going to be about 45 minutes to an hour, and I'm going to do a little presentation, PowerPoint for the first 10 or 15 minutes, and then after that, I'll be done talking at you, and we can get into a fun fly tying activity. Don't feel like you need to stay here for the whole program. If you need to get up and go to the bathroom, or you got another commitment you need to get to, feel free to get up and do that. But with that, we are going to get started. So, come on. There you go. So this is the art legacy of fly tying. So we might be asking ourselves, what is a fly? A fly is just simply an artificial imitation of a creature that would exist in the wild, and there's some different types of flies. So to get into it, there are dry flies like this, and they imitate insects that float on top of the water. And fly tying is an art that deepens the angler's connection to the natural world by transforming abstract knowledge of ecosystems into tangible imitations of natural creatures. As you can see, this mayfly on the screen the fly does not exactly imitate the one in the wild, but that's because the artist, the fly tyer, used their own creative abilities there and interpreted it how they want. So right here, this is an example of a stonefly, which might be hard to see on this rock, but he is that big critter right there. A stonefly is what we call a nymph. A nymph is an aquatic insect that lives underwater. So when we tie flies that imitate these nymphs, they tend to be flies that sink and really get down to the bottom. The stonefly imitation right here, we call that a nymph fly because it is imitating those nymph patterns. Hey, welcome, come on in. Just on time. Have a seat. Yeah, I got some candy there for you. Christina. How you doing? Oh, okay. That's awesome. Happy you could join us. So I was telling my friends here, we are imitating insects with something called flies. So right here, this is a critter called a stonefly. It's a bug that likes to live underwater. And then we like to tie flies that imitate those. So this is a nymph pattern right here, which is the stonefly. And then if you're hunting for those bigger fish, we like to tie something called a streamer. Now a streamer is typically imitating a bigger insect or a big fish. Here, this is a sculpin. These are trout that these are minnows that live in the streams of most trout streams, and then we like to imitate them with bigger flies. Just to show you something for perspective right now, when I was talking about that stonefly earlier, just from a distance you can see that's how big a stonefly is. Something like a streamer, like up here, it's going to be about this big. So big of a size discrepancy. Yeah, you got a question? You don't like bugs? Well, that's fair. I think they can gross me out sometimes too. But luckily, we can tie a lot of flies that imitate things like fish that maybe aren't as creepy crawly as bugs. So, the science of fly tying allows anglers to use natural materials to make the lifelike imitations of insects. Right here, we have a mayfly, which is an insect that likes to live in a lot of our water bodies in Wisconsin. And this right here is a good example of how different artists perceive insects differently. Here on the left, the artist for this fly, which was me by the way, chose to make the feathers go in a different directions, and had different materials for the body compared to this fly, which imitates the same thing, but has a different style of wing. As you can see right here, the wings look different, and the colors are a bit different, and the different tying materials. So really, fly tying is strengthening your connection to nature by imitating the things we see in nature. Now, some of you might ask, why tie flies? Well, if you go to the store, they might not have what you're looking for. Different streams and different regions have insects that are particular to that stream or region, and if you're able to tie flies, you're able to look at those insects and make your own interpretation on things. I remember one time I was at a river fishing, and I go down all the way to the bank, and I see two people there already, and I'm like, darn it. But I asked them what they were doing, and they were two old guys, and they were actually flipping over rocks, and they were looking at the different insects on there. And then they were going back into their car and tying flies based on the different insects that they saw. So being able to tie flies yourself really lets you mimic what you see in the wild. Right here is another example of how we try to mimic what we see in nature with our fly tying materials. This is a caddisfly, and we have a pretty accurate representation of what that might look like. So I just thought it would be kind of cool to show you how we mimic those different materials. Yeah,
They
so,
also, don't they look different once they get in the water? So like all the strings would go together.
yeah.
Make them look not all fuzzy like that too.
Yeah, so when this fly would get in the water, all those hairs would kind of clump together, and it would look more like a wing rather than just a bunch of hairs splaying out. So yeah, that's absolutely a good point to bring up. And what's unique about Wisconsin specifically is the sheer amount of trout streams we have. If you look on this map, it might be a little hard to see in the back there, but all these different blue marks are trout streams, which is pretty special because most of the time we think of fly fishing, we like to think of out west, like states like Montana or Colorado, but Wisconsin has a lot of trout streams, and specifically Portage County, where we are, has a lot of trout streams. All these different blue lines and green lines are major trout streams we have in the area, and even the surrounding counties like the Marathon and Adams County, a lot of different trout streams are there, and this has really led to a history of fly tying that has shaped angling today. So I know you told me earlier that you did a book report on Carrie Frost in school. So Carrie Frost is an important figure for fly tying in general as a whole, but specifically to Wisconsin, and more specifically Portage County, Carrie Frost was an amazing fly tyer and angler. At the time, Carrie Frost realized there was a problem because most of the flies we were getting in Wisconsin were actually flies that were being made overseas in England. Now, I'm gonna ask a question to y'all. Do you think the bugs in England look exactly like the bugs we have in Wisconsin? I see you shaking your head. No, they don't. They don't. And Carrie Frost realized there was a big problem with this because we were not fishing flies that looked like the natural insects we had around. So she had an idea, and that was to start her own fly tying company. It just started in the back of her garage, and church friends and people in the community would ask her to tie her flies. But eventually, her flies got so popular with everyone that she started her own fly tying company. And this is downtown Stevens Point. Do you know where the library is downtown? This is right where that was downtown. This is about 1930, about. And at the height of her business, she employed over 50 different women, which was a big accomplishment because during that time, women were not encouraged to work outside of the home. So she really stood up for women at her time by employing them and giving them a job. And she really put flies on the milestone in Stevens Point. It's often still referred to as the fly tying capital of the world simply because we have such a rich history from fly tyers like Carrie Frost, who brought fly tying to this area and transformed it from being an art that was mainly centered in Europe and European flies to making flies that were cool and specific to Wisconsin and our streams around here. This is just a picture of one of the flies she tied. As you can see, it's a lot more dark and muted than a lot of different flies. And this is because she was looking at the insects that lived around here, and she was a big proponent of using materials that could be found in Wisconsin. So a fly like this has squirrel hair and deer hair in it, something you can really only find here. And she really translated that to her old flies. Unfortunately, today it is hard to find really good pictures of all of the flies she tied because the flies she tied were all made of natural materials. They don't age very well, so we actually don't have a lot of them around anymore. Or a lot of those flies were lost on branches or broken off from big fish. But she tied a lot of really different amazing flies. And today it's left this legacy of fly tyers in Stevens Point. So earlier I mentioned I was an officer in the Stevens Point Fly Tying Club, and this is just some pictures of the different meetings that we have where we get together and tie flies, and we still actually tie fly patterns that Carrie Frost invented, which is pretty neat. And this is something I did want to talk about since we're going to be tying flies later. I did want to talk a bit about the terminology. So we have the eye of the hook, which is this round part at the end. And then the shank is the long metal barb. Shank right there. These terms, just to reiterate, they're important because I'm going to refer to them during our demo, so I figured it'd be helpful to give you a preview to them now. This is the hook gap. It's just the space in between the tip of the hook and the shank, and then we have the barb of the hook. It's a good way to recognize the barb is it has that little pokey point on it. And then if you were interested in fly tying further and you wanted to figure out where could you go to learn about this stuff, or you wanted to take a class, Fall Line Outfitters, which is in downtown Stevens Point, teaches a lot of different fly tying programs and classes. If you're interested, you can scan that code and that'll take you to their website where they have different schedules for their fly tying programs and events that they do. All right, now we're getting into our fly tying bit. This is the pink. Say that? Yeah.
That one looks like it's made out of gold.
Gold? Yeah, it definitely has that hue to it. So the fly we're going to be tying today is the pink squirrel. And pink squirrel is kind of funny because it doesn't really look like any insect we have in particular. It's just a very general pattern that looks like a lot of different little bugs in the water. And a little secret about fish is they actually love the color pink. So just that little bit of pink on there really attracts the fish's attention. So with that, you'll have to stare at that image, and we're gonna pass out our different vices. There's a lot of different tools and fun things on there, but I ask that you can look at them, but just kind of leave them in place until you're ready to start tying. And then on your vise, I did put one fly on there, so you could look at that material as a guide if you would like a reference. Alright, would you like to tie fly?
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm just gonna put it there.
Oh, yeah.
If you wanna use it, you don't have to. Alright, you got two.
Yep.
Are you all on tie flies? I'll help her. Alright, sweet. Brandon, you're good?
Unless you think I can do it one-handed.
One-handed.
You know what, I can help you after if you wanted.
Sure, sure. We'll get there.
Alright, so what I'm gonna do now is, I have a really fancy camera up here that I'm gonna tie a fly in the camera, and I'm just gonna walk you through it. What I ask is that you just watch me tie one fly, and then that's really gonna help you when you tie your fly, because you already would have done it before. And feel free to ask questions or interrupt during this if you have any questions. Alright. Yeah. Or do you get to do that pink squirrel I showed earlier? No, they're not that scared. I mean, it's a pink squirrel. Think about that. That's kind of cute. Alright. Yeah. Shut right there. Right there. Yeah. So this is already attached on your hook. But this right here is called your bobbin, and this is what holds your thread. Now, is thread very durable? Like if I pulled on this, would it snap? Yeah. Yeah. So I like to think about when I'm working with the thread, when I'm tying it on the hook, is I just want to be firm with it, but not too firm that I snap it. But then if I'm really loosey-goosey, then my thread's not going to hold in place. So it's about finding that sweet spot. So what you're going to do is just lay your thread over the fly right here and just wrap it around a few times. You don't have to do this, I already put it on there for you, but I'm going to cut off that tag end. And the nice thing is we're not in a rush either. And I'm going to wrap it down past the point of the hook to right here about. Did you have your hand up? Did you have a question? Alright. And so then me or Christina will pass this out when you're tying your fly. But this is called dubbing, and this will be used to make the body of the fly. Now, when I was talking about earlier how Carrie Frost liked to use materials from Wisconsin, a lot of the dubbing in her flies, and still a lot of the dubbing we use today, it's made out of rabbit fur or squirrel fur, which is pretty cool. But what you want to do is just stretch out this dubbing to where it's kind of like a big noodle like that. And then you put it on the hook just by twisting it in with your thumb, like that. And the good thing is, if I add too much, I can take a bit off, and then if I decide that I need more, I can put more on there. But then we're going to wrap it forward after that. Just with these winding wraps. And it doesn't have to be perfect either. And you can take as long as you need. And I'm going to keep wrapping it up until right about here. So about how long the head of this bead on the fly is, I want to leave about that much space behind it to tie my other fly. So we're also going to pass out some pink dubbing on the fly, for the fly. And we don't need as much dubbing as we put on the fly already. And then we're going to twist it in just like we did before. It doesn't have to look as neat as this also. The nice thing about this fly is the more beat up it kind of looks, the more fish actually like it. just gonna wrap it around like this. Alrighty. And then, this might look kind of goofy. You have a different tool for this in your kit. And I'm actually gonna get up and steal one of those. Because I should have grabbed it earlier. This pointy tool right here is called your bodkin. There's a pointy end, which you can use to kind of mess with your dubbing, make it look how you want. And then there's this end with the hole. This looks kind of complicated, but I can go around and show you when you get to this point, if you still have questions. You're gonna wrap your thread around it right there. And then you're gonna push it back to just behind the bead. You don't wanna get it in front of the bead, because then your thread will be going over your hook, and then your knot will come undone. And you just give it a good tug, right there. I wanna do about 3 of these. And then I'll get it in there real good. Just one more time, wrapping my thread around there. And I'm gonna get it in nice and snug. Now comes the really fun and satisfying part. Is you get to cut the thread. Right there. That's about roughly what you want your finished fly to look like. Alright, with that, I'm gonna invite you to start bringing your thread back on your hook. And I'll be walking around and just seeing how everyone's doing during this time. Yeah.
Tension on it.
Can I see your thread really quick? And what was your name? Tamarack? Sorry, I have bad from heart here. So you want it, so I'm gonna start it right here.
Okay.
And then something that I find is really helpful is you don't wanna have a bunch of thread out. You kinda wanna let it pull out as you wrap it.
Okay.
But it's your fly, so I'm not gonna do it for you. I want it to be your own. And then you wanna bring it to right about there. Alright, you could do a few more wraps, but you're at a pretty good point. I like to bring it right about there.
Oh,
Yeah. It doesn't have to be perfect either. Ooh, alright. You already made it down there, made it all the way back. So why don't you bring your thread, you can tie it back down to right about there. That looks really good. That's awesome. How's yours going, bro? Yeah, you can do a few more wraps and bring it to right about there. That looks really awesome. Yeah.
So you can't go back.
Ooh, you're building a big body on your fly, which is nice. Do you want to bring your thread right about there and then just even? And then that'll look really good. You got yours?
I'm done.
Awesome. You could bring it down a few more wraps if you wanted. How's it going,
What
Chris?
does he call that stuff?
Terrible.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah, you can bring it down just a touch more if you like. Okay. Yeah, that's in the perfect spot.
With this part, I should use something with yellow feathers.
Alright. Is everybody in a good spot down there at the end of your fly? Awesome. I went around and everybody's looked really good, which is awesome to see. And just, ooh, that's a good question. So sometimes when we tie flies, we have other materials that we want to grab, and we use these as kind of pliers. Or what I like to do with these is after I tie my fly, that's a good question. After I tie my fly, I like to hold it at least pliers. You just look at them.
Well, we can ask one to kind of
It's called a whip finish tool. I use it to tie a bunch of knots. So I'm gonna pass out that dubbing. Yeah, isn't it?
You want to stretch out?
I'm gonna give you some more dubbing. And what we really wanna do with that dubbing is stretch it out and make that big, nice dubbing noodle. That's gonna help our fly look good. And if you're like, Eli, I need more, give me a yell and I will bring you some more material. And Christina's gonna pass out the pink dubbing. The pink dubbing, remember, goes on the head of the fly.
Are we going to use your thumb or?
Right down Tommy Moore.
Can I use these yellow feathers?
What about 'em?
Can I use these?
Go ahead. Here's a big chunk of your dubbing. Oh, we have some issues right there. Thread break.
Yeah, thread break.
That's
Too strong.
too strong for your own good. You know,
Yeah.
it happens all the time. So you have this little bit of thread right there. Just cut that off, and then what you can do is just tie behind the head again and bring it all the way back down. And that's no issue at all. I'm gonna give you a little dubbing right there.
You wanna wrap it up now?
Brandon, this is a part you might need to help out with. What do you need to do?
This is not morning and I'm for the happy birthday places.
Unfortunate.
It happens, you know, it works.
So I got it on there for you, and I think if you have sweaty fingers like I do, you should be able to roll it in.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
What's this pink stuff made out of?
Pink stuff? It's made out of plastic.
Okay, I was trying to figure out what kind of animals this come from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the times the feathers die.
You gotta make sure.
Nice. Well done.
Can I give one suggestion? I would kind of just get that on a little more. Tell us. Just take your time. The nice thing is we're not in a rush, so.
Oh,
Ooh,
somehow I turned it
yeah,
off.
that looks really good. So I would say just leave it there for now, and then we'll get into the last part. Yeah, yeah. Take your time.
Yeah.
Ooh, you're really close. I would say you're 90% there. I would just, may I touch your flag? Thank you. I would like to see it on there like that. Because that way it'll lay in a little bit better. And you're already on that part, which is awesome. Just do the same thing with this thread as you did with the other one. I'd get that on there a little more though. Just a little more. But otherwise it looks really good. Little mister. You're there. Alright. So what I would do is just leave that right there, and then we'll get ready to tie it in. How's it going, Mr. Brandon? How are you doing? Yeah. You know, I would just bring that up to right about there, and then I would put it in under jelly. And that's gonna go right behind that bead right there. Yeah, and then there's some more on the table. Scrounge together. Yeah.
Do you put that right over the gold part too?
I put the thread over the gold part too.
Or do you wrap it around?
Yeah, so you have that right there. So pull out a little more thread and do that again.
So you go like that,
Mhm.
and just like that, and you go.
Yeah, and then, so, can I do it once for you? And then you'll kind of see how to do it. So you did this right, you have it over, and then what you gotta do is if I just brought it forward immediately, it would kind of just go into the bead right there, and I wouldn't be very happy.
Alright.
So what you gotta do
You gotta tie a knot.
is kind of guide your thread over the bead like that, and then pull it in. But yeah, that looks really good.
The pink is hard to get on, but I really like
Yeah, because it's a different material, so it has a little bit of a different feel. That was cool that you recognized that. Yeah. Nice job tying a head there.
past that. These things are on my notes.
You're just looking good. How you doing there, boss? Alright. Yeah, looks like we're all in a similar spot. Yeah, what's up? So you're doing that? Mhm. Oh, so you're a photographer? No. You just started? Yeah, I could see some of them. You know where a really good spot to take pictures would be? Is if you go out in the sunroom right here, there's a ton of different birds and squirrels and even deer. Oh yeah, did you take that picture? No. It's in the settings? Alright. Yeah, so you tied it up? Oh, sweet. a stop motion. That's really cool. I gotta go and look at some other people's flies, but you can show me after the program too.
What does this thing do?
What is that? That's a whip finish tool. Alright.
There's something about doing this, but I
Mhm.
forgot what it was.
Can I do the first one for you so you can see it?
I think that we would do it.
Yeah.
It's like a knot.
For most people, tying the knot is the most difficult part. So, and then, do you wanna look at this too? Then you can kind of see. So,
Oh,
what you do is wrap your thread over it like that. So just go once. And then what you really wanna do is when you're tying it in, is to be careful that you're getting your thread over the bead. You're tucking it in just behind there. And then once you do it, you wanna give it a little pull just to cinch it down. So just one more time. And then you just pull it up, get it over the bead, just like that. Just like that. Dude, that's awesome. Alright. Yeah, we have time for another one. But I'm gonna wait till everyone finishes their fly first. Alright, so what you wanna do. Can I show you once? And then I think you'll get the hang of it, because you were really close. So just like you had it, we're tying our thread over, just like that, which you already had, and then you bring it forward, and you want to get right behind the bead, like that. See how this has that hole in the end, right there? I kind of like to plug it in to the bead right there, and then that's how I know. So now try getting that thread forward, behind the bead. I'll hold that for you. Oh yeah, you did it perfect. Now show me how to do it. Did you get your knot in good?
No, I let some out after.
Oh darn. You tied a few more?
Because
Yeah.
No, yeah, I know.
That'll be good. So now you can get
It's
your
a little
scissors
addictive.
and just cut it right off
That's
right there.
something,
There you go. It's so
Yeah. Do you want brothers? Yeah. Do you want to show your brother how to do it too? I'll make a deal. Do you want to tie one more fly and then do an animation?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That sounds like a good deal to me.
you did it from the beat.
Yeah, yeah. So wait, you have it right there,
I just have to
and then
get it
plug it in, and then scoop that thread forward right behind the bead. Oh yeah, you
Do I
got
have to
it.
use this just to pick up your hooks?
All right. Do you tie yours in? All right. I'm gonna show you just one time on your fly, and then you'll do the other ones. All right. Man, this is a good looking fly. So what you want to do is just, you're just gonna wrap it around like that, and then plug it into the bead right there, and then scoot it up, and you just with your finger kind of poke that thread over the bead, and give it a good cinch right in there. Can I see you do it once before I help someone else? Can you already get yours tied up? All right. How you doing, Brandon?
If you have a chance, I may need help.
Oh, I have a chance. Yes.
This hook does not
Christina.
have a barb.
Yes.
All right, that looks good. Will you do me a favor and pass out one more hook and one more bead to everyone?
Okay.
Thank you.
This hook does not have a barb on it.
Yeah, so this is a barbless hook.
It's just the.
This would be hard to do with one. What you want to do is just wrap it around once like that. You want me to do it for you?
Sure, yeah, I appreciate that.
All right. So I'm just nudging it over the eye right there. Give it a color. I'm gonna do. I like to do 3 or 4, and then support you give it a little flow. Just cinch down the knot.
I have a good hook to be.
There you go. And then the honor will be all yours, giving it that final cut at the end. All right.
These hooks don't have the filter in it.
Yeah.
Alright.
Did you just get the hook? It would be 2. Just the hook. We got some. Did you tie it in?
Yeah. Some of the strings went back over the
Yeah.
top. But I did get 3 of them after I did that.
Well, I don't think the fish will notice.
Yeah, you're way better at
That looks really good. Looks really good. You giving him the bead right now?
Yep.
All right. And then for the bead, there's a big end to the bead and a small end.
Exactly.
You want to put the tip of the hook into the small end of that bead.
How do you?
Beads are coming.
Yep. And then
Take
you
a
just
look at the small
push that.
I have two.
Well, then
You have
why?
two? Okay. You want to try another one? Alright.
I don't mind for sure anything. I'm just here because I don't know. Arts and crafts.
Arts and crafts. Okay.
As you can see, I've brought water because after this much they just didn't want to do more.
That's beautiful. You're free to do that.
I'm
I
gonna
had
put
the
my
same thing
other
with
one.
peeling
You
potatoes.
put that?
but I was
You should
thinking,
do that.
when I went-
How did it get
myself
those?
up, I didn't peel potatoes for about 10
How do you get a string out? It's a great question.
Like that, when it's on, do you have to tie it on?
Yeah. No, no, not like that. Want a little help getting that in there? Just put it in there. That's the spot.
They don't have to.
I have more pieces.
Yeah, looks like you got an extra. Do you want me to help you get that on there?
Dimitri?
Alright. Dimitri's then? Hey Dimitri,
What are you doing? Do you need help?
can I show you something, Dimitri? Alright, so I'll show you both how to do this at the same time. So what you wanna do is I brought my thread back and it's touching right there. And then you just wrap it in, keep wrapping, and then you're gonna have this piece of thread right here. You
So
cut that.
grab me just hold it on.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
I'll do my caps.
Yeah.
looks like you got it.
Here you go. Trade boxes with me.
So you start with this one now?
And then
Yeah,
wrap
because this one's
over
not tied up.
that piece of thread.
Unless you don't want to do it.
I was just gonna keep on using my black.
You can if you want. I just
Yeah,
didn't want
you got
to
that on
tie
there,
that
Dimitri.
first
We're
part.
gonna make
Oh,
one little
stop.
change. Do you like to tie on? Yeah. Okay. Do you need it? Ooh, did you want to tie that in there?
No, but that was in my kit. He's rubber.
Yeah.
Wow, Bob
Right,
has
that
a
looks
lot
like
more
work.
short.
Well, then that's
When you
what
guys
they
have
should
done
do.
it, Tree Haven, picking bugs from the creek, there it is.
There you go, yeah. That was the worst assignment in the history of band.
Oh, I love picking bugs so much. Yeah,
Alright,
yeah.
there you go.
And then,
So I'm gonna give everyone the option. Would you like some different colors for this next one?
Yeah.
Yeah? Alright, I got some different colors in my
Make
bag.
it be the goofiest bug. And the
Fish.
most bug looking bug.
Fish like goofy colors. Christina, would you like to make a goofy color on this one? Alright, come over here, I can show you. So you can pick two. Good, just point at it, I can take one.
I think I didn't find
Pick
my
the yellow one.
Do you know how?
I already used the, we had some extra.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, so it didn't pull it off like that.
I want some blue.
Where's my block?
Oh,
You like
it's
to
matching your
use the
character.
white?
And it looks like that matches some of your other characters. Alright,
That's the one that
would you like to do some different colors? You can pick two.
Sure. John, what do you want me to do?
I don't care what you do.
I'm surprised at that.
Pink for the body? Okay, give me pink. Pick one more goofy color.
Two pinks.
Two pinks.
Dark pinks and one.
Oh, okay. I like that. Now for your flag, what do you
It's a
like?
Barbie flag.
Mhm.
And I get to make two different choices then. 'cause I own it.
Seems interesting. You know, it's
Dark pink.
so nice that it was just like,
Yeah, there you go.
interesting. Our first shot.
But there's a different file. There's a different time presentation.
Well, I don't know.
I think fish really like the color purple.
You had
Sure.
insects
your decision. You're the artist. It's your inspiration. There you go. Alright. Two colors. Purple and blue. Nobody said blue yet. We're getting a lot of purples and pinks.
I said blue, but then I decided to change it to purple.
There you go. Alright, so you sir.
Yeah. This is pretty cool though, you get to do it at this age.
No.
Yeah.
I put it in a frame and I put, you know, wrote, this is what scrapbooking is in, and then I put my first slides, and then I got wire and but for a long time it was kind of, you know, and then as I got into fly tying, I realized, and I did a different kind of fly, I think they did much better first one than so this will catch fish if you guys use it for fishing. Mine was kind of ugly, but it was my first fly.
It's an advanced technique, tying some random feathers there.
Which is what I would try
That's
to do when I
nice.
caught kids, I'd use that fly.
So this is a pretty artistic family, it looks like. You're making some animations. You're doing watercolors. Yeah, you can show me animations.
This is my own
The long one?
Well, that worked, I just maxed out my storage on that one.
It's a pretty cool
So
camera.
you have two ones going. Make sure it's going, yes.
Ooh, looks like this one's looking pretty good. Wrap that in the corner for us. Put on another corner.
I'm not supporting you with this. I don't.
You know, it's like Bob Ross said, there's no mistakes, only happy accidents.
Oh, I love that.
You found it?
It's okay. Looking at it.
It's okay. I don't think it's playing, I don't know if I pressed the wrong button. I'll come back and look at it.
Is there, I have two of these in here, is there supposed to be two of these in here? Or
There's supposed to be one. Oh, thanks for telling me that. That'll catch a fish.
Gosh, that'd be fun. There was someone fishing this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta go for Claudia today.
You tied it in right there? Bringing that straight forward. Make sure you get it over the eye of the bead. But it's okay if you didn't. It'll still work. Whoa. That looks pretty cool.
There.
Wow. Putting all those feathers in there. That's really cool. That'll definitely catch you fish. Or it can keep looking cool. You're getting it in there? You're doing good. What? No, I think it's going pretty good. So what all I would do is just get that W out there and just cast it. I won't do it for you because it's your fly. But I would just strap it in a little tighter like that. And then it'll look so big. But if that was the look you were going for, you're doing the perfect thing. True artiste.
I think I found my calling.
Yeah.
I want to use this.
On the table.
No, you're doing, Christina, that looks good. I mean, Brandon, here, I'll show you this.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
So these
four.
are all ones I
Did you see this
tried.
one?
So like, look at that compared to that.
Oh.
That's pretty spot on.
Thank you.
Like,
No, those are really cool.
yeah, I would want you to.
Yeah.
You're gonna make animations?
One in my
Oh, so let me show you something here too. If you're
Pretty.
trying to get cool pictures, there's a ton of fun squirrels and different birds that come to that work here. So you might be able to get some cool pictures out there.
Could we make another one?
Make another one. We don't quite got time for another one today.
And also, what is this thing? How would you tie it on?
How would I tie that up?
Yeah, do you just tie it right onto the top?
Mm-hmm. Well, so that's a good question. So this is a strip of rabbit fur. And if I was tying this in, personally what I would do is I would remove a little bit of hair from the front. Like you could cut it or you could just pull it off. So you got that little bit of leather with no hair on it right there.
Guys, there's a deer. There's a deer on the top of it. Oh, good eye.
And then I would
It's right by the trail.
you tied a really nice fly, by the way, all three of you. And then I would just tie it in like that on that bare leather part. And you could tie it in like that. And that would look really good as like a tail to something. And
You
think,
probably put it upside down
yeah, you could put it upside down too.
for the fish don't see the leather part.
Yeah, I don't think the leather part would really bother them. What you want to do though, is it's really easy to tie flies that look cool to us. And it's okay to tie flies that look cool to us, and I think they should, because that inspires you. But then, some flies are kind of more for looking at, because you like tying them, but then others are really fishy that are good for fish. So it's good to think about what would it look like to a fish. So this leather in the water, it looks really wavy and kind of wonky, and fish really like that. So that would add a lot of movement to your fly. So, pretty nice observation. Yeah. I wish we could time out the fly. We only got 10 minutes left though.
Maybe I
Which
could,
isn't
if you
quite
don't have
enough
anything
time.
else to do. You don't have any more.
Hanging
Yeah.
on today?
He has homework.
Yeah. Chris gave me a lot of homework to do
I
later.
know, yeah, every party has a pooper, and that's why they invite professors.
You know what? I think we have enough time. If you do it fast, you can do homework. Do you want to time homework?
Can you make a good fishy one, Pat?
You don't have to. You know, I think you should try putting that piece. So what I'll give you a little instruction on this though. So what you're gonna wanna do is you don't wanna tie material into nothing, because otherwise if you just tie this right on the hook, it would slip and slide. So what you're gonna wanna do, and you can take this off if you want to do your own wrapping, but get a good base of thread there first, and then remember what I was saying about you want to tie that leather part right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, got a little time. You can knock that one over. Can you make another one? Yeah, we got enough time. Got 10 minutes left. We're doing them pretty fast. And you said you didn't want to do another one? No, okay. That's fine. Randy would ask where? Give me a yell when you want to.
What's
grab
that?
up your fly.
Honestly, if you want to, I think mine was the extra one. If you
Where
need.
did he put it? Is it up there?
The pink domain, that's right, I can see it.
Want me to bring it for you?
Sure, when I go get it, can you just take a
Sweet. Thank you.
Yeah.
just right?
Christina, give me a yell if you want me. I got it.
Wonder what the color for this one. Pink for the top.
Do you want a realistic middle part, or do you want whatever goofy color?
Make a good fish one, Pat.
Realistic?
What kind of fish you
I
got?
think this green one would be pretty nice. And then, did you want pink you said for behind it? Yeah. And did you want some dummy?
Orange for the front
Yeah, okay. A little bit of orange for you.
and like brown for the
Brown's a pretty good color. And one thing too, I'm just gonna give you a little reminder, is when you put that dubbing on, you don't have to do all of this. Just do as much as you need. Get it, pull it out really nice and thin like that. Really twist it out there so it's pretty fine. Wow. You're getting it down there. And these the ones Al brought you?
Wait, no, these are Paxton's,
Mhm.
and these are mine.
Wow.
This is yours.
So these would all definitely catch fish. Do you ever go like bobber fishing?
Me, no.
You have a
Him,
little-
he tries.
So if you ever go bobber fishing, you could put these on instead of your regular hook, and that would definitely catch fish.
There you go.
Yeah.
Another thing to try.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You want to? No?
Quick learners.
Well, next we're just chilling, waiting.
I remember when I first learned it, I didn't get it.
I like how you put the little
Of course,
bit
he
of rubber on
picked
it.
good
Moist it.
steps. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, he picked,
That was
A
one
step,
thing I
so
hated
he's-
myself for, is I had like containers. I was gonna go steal a bunch of.
it's your fly here. Put it on the camera there.
Where's the camera?
Who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's somewhere.
It's somewhere.
There.
I don't wanna turn it
I'm on the
off.
wrong side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought the camera was over here.
yeah, and I can't switch it around while it's running.
It's right there.
Oh, is it right there?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, there we go. That's adjustable. Hmm?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I have to shut it off. Apparently,
You don't need it work, because it just
Oh.
looks interesting.
yeah,
Must be old.
it is,
Fish,
yeah.
You just touch it
And it would flip.
reverse. Yeah.
You know how you accidentally do that? You get it like this angle and you're like looking up your nose and
Yeah, you see yourself when you don't want to see.
yeah, that's, you are not prepared for that. Yes, that is terrifying. We'll cut this part off, right?
Put anything for this.
Oh, yeah, I know, yeah. You know, I used to,
That's pretty
yeah,
fun.
I did this on the presentation part, and I've done some of it on this stuff too. So
you know, when I can't come up with a polish, I usually do here's an idea, you know, to consider.
might
And
be
then, and, you know, and they might, I mean, and sometimes you're like, you should become a professional fly fishing instructor. You know,
Alrighty.
I mean, you know, when you're really struggling, because sometimes people, and these folks, when they've done their second program, they're usually pretty solid at their skills by now,
Yeah.
right? You know, so this is
What I
common.
would do
Yeah.
is I would go to Fall Line downtown, and they are really helpful in getting materials, and if you need those, and they do have classes.
There's a cardinal.
What I would do is get your mom on Amazon to look up fly tying kits. And I would just get a basic fly tying kit. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. And then they have a lot of materials on Amazon with that, with the kits. And then I would
Yeah.
probably go to the fly fishing shop, Fall Line, and I would ask them
And the two deers are
To
good people.
give you some, hook you up with some materials for some different flies. They would be really helpful.
Yeah.
There's also, I think this is the best way to learn. There's a kit that Orvis puts out, ORVIS, and it has a CD that comes with it. And it's a really cool guy named Charlie Craven, and he goes through and walks you through all the different flies. On a time, the kit comes with all the different hooks and stuff that you need. So,
So what is it called? Pax?
the pen and paper stuff.
What is it called? A kit, no. What is a specific kit? You asked a question and you didn't listen.
It's-
Yeah.
The one with the CD in it.
What, Pax?
The one with the CD in it. Orvis.
You need to do better than listen.
Yeah, I'd look up Orvis tying kit, and then
Alright.
look at the one with the CD in it. That's how I learned how to tie flies. And then it's nice because it comes with all of the different materials you need, and you go through each different one.
And I wonder if it isn't now on YouTube. You know, like Google, if you go on YouTube, someone's probably illegally put it up there.
Yours. Do you need help tying this one off?
And Cabela's sells these kits, and they do online too, but I don't know. Do they have Cabela's around here, Davis?
Around here?
Yeah, not really.
Or Cabela's would have kids and stuff.
That's
too.
just me, sorry, that's all we have.
No, that's a good point.
Ah.
It's
What is
all
it? Bass Pro Shops, right?
Bass Pro Shops.
No, there's Cabela's. There's one by Milwaukee, by, I
Okay.
think, McWater.
There's one in Madison.
I get those.
Okay.
And the thing is, if your kids never get into fly
Oh,
fishing,
yes,
fly
yes.
tying, they're never gonna have money to do anything bad.
It's like having a horse, yeah.
Yeah.
They have a hobby that
Looks
just
like you
takes all
tried
your
that one.
time. One of my students was running a thing called Joey's Fly Fishing in Sheridan, Wyoming, and it was
Alright, you ready to cut this
not
one?
this thing, but you know, for at-risk kids.
Looks like
And
you
you
tied
just turn them
everything
on to fly fishing. It was a beautiful thing. It's just, yeah, I think it's still going. Yeah, but that's what he did for his internship.
Doing a little trimming.
There you go.
Well, I want to thank everyone for coming to this really fun fly tying program today. I had fun getting to know all of you and tying flies with you. And I hope that as you go out into the world after this program, you keep finding inspiration in nature and you find that inspiration to make creative decisions and artistic endeavors. I'm going to be around after the program for a bit if you want to talk to me about anything or look at some flies I have up here. So I just want to thank you all for coming and feel free to finish up whatever fly you're tying and I'll be sticking around. So thank you all for coming today.
Thank you. Yay.